polyoma. It's a sickness that the siblings get that they do not survive.
He brought out 2 birds. One girl bought one. I took one home. It died, and then hers died the next day.
And I told her, I says, I think Randy stole money from you. And I says, let me get her to admit it to me. If she does, I will pay you that money.
A couple hours later, I fed it, and then I went to bed and got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check on it, and it was dead.
That's completely unreasonable.
If you want to fight, I can get you boxing gloves, but we're not here for that. My first case ever with worms.
Come here, Sophie. Get him, Rusty.
Can I say something?
No. If she hadn't had an oral agreement, how do you do? I know you've all been sworn. I have read your complaint, ma'am. You're suing for breach of a contract where you purchased a bird from the defendant?
4 birds.
4 birds, okay. And how much did you pay for them?
$450 each for the first 2, or for a total of $900. $400 each for the second 2, for a total of $800. Total of $1,700 altogether.
Okay. And was one of them defective or all of them defective?
Well, the first 2, the situation was that the birds would be purchased because he needed to sell them early, and that he would feed them out for several weeks and then bring them to me when they were larger. But it went on for months, and for some reason I couldn't get my birds. They just weren't there. He wasn't home.
When was this contract made?
Very early 1998, I believe. The reason I have to say I believe is I had a dwelling fire 3 months ago and 100% destruction, so my records...
When did you get the birds?
I got them several months later, and
you know approximately which month?
Probably about April.
Okay. Were they all defective, or
no,
1 or 2?
Well, I only got 2. At that point, I had bought the 2 who had not yet been delivered, but I had also purchased the other 2. But the first 2 came, and I have 2 hand feeders. One took one home, and it died that night, and the other one purchased the bird for herself, and it died the next day.
So the 2 birds died?
Yes, and then the other 2...
Are these the ones you paid $450 each for?
$450 each. And then the other 2 birds...
Was there a necropsy performed?
No, because it costs almost as much as the birds cost. And
how do you know why they died?
I don't really, except that they died so quickly. It had to be something that well, as a matter of fact, when they came, when the girls took them, they said the birds just don't look good.
How old were the birds?
Oh, I think about probably 5-6 weeks.
Are you the lady who took care of the birds?
Yes. I took one bird. It was about 4 weeks old, and I took it home. It had no life in it. You know, it was just didn't want to eat or anything. I took it home and gave it some Pedialyte, and then a couple hours.
What's Pedialyte?
Enzymes.
Okay.
Then a couple hours later, I fed it, and then I went to bed and got up at 3 o'clock in the morning to check on it, and it was dead.
What was the condition of these birds when you sold them, when you turned them over to the plaintiff, sir?
In '97, I sold her 2 baby umbrellas that for $450 each. I told her I would hand feed them till they were 5 or 6, 7 weeks old. She says that's fine. Started hand feeding them. She called my wife at about 10:30 at night and says, "Can you bring one of the babies out? I have it sold." My wife says, "Sure, Louise." Took it to Louise. Louise was supposed to have a person to buy it. In the meantime, I built her nest boxes too. So my wife took some nest boxes out there a week later to deliver them. She says, "Carmen, my person that was going to buy this bird did not buy it. I would like to know if you would hand feed it until it is the same age as the other one." And my wife says, "I will have to ask my husband, Steve." She called me on the phone, and I said, "Yes, providing that you will sign a receipt saying I am not liable if something happens to the bird." Because she has
Did she sign such a document?
Yes.
You have a copy of it?
No, I do not. I lost it.
You lost it. Did
Right.
you sign such a document?
I did, I did.
Okay.
I'd like to comment later if I may.
Okay. Which she has had polyoma out there and other disease related. That's why I asked for it. Okay? In the meantime,
Tell me that again.
polyoma. It's a sickness that the siblings get that they do not survive. I mean,
How do they get it?
The adult birds are immune to it, but when the adult birds are shedding the virus, babies can get it, and it shuts down your immune system, and they bleed and they die. You know, it's just, you can
Did
vaccinate.
either of these two birds have that before you turned them over to her?
No, they did not. Okay. Then also she had purchased 2 more that were not 3 weeks old, but were a week and a half old, and she took them to have her hand feed them, which I don't believe it was Betty. It was some other lady. At the same time, I sold Pet Stop. There was 4 babies total. Pet Stop 2 of the babies, which I've got a statement from him saying his turned out fine. Okay? Then I've sold 17 babies since then, and I've got statements from them people with pictures of the babies. So I told Louise when she called me and says the birds died, I says, Louise, the one that you hand fed for a week and you brought back, I says, I will not be liable for that. But me being stupid and put it in with the other baby, I feel I am liable for that because of my stupidity. Which
You
she
feel
said-
you're liable to her for $450?
one bird, right, 1 bird. Which at the time, on the newborn babies that were about a week old, I asked you, what happened to them? Did your hand feeder aspirate them? Which if you get food and water in their lungs or moisture in their lungs, it'll kill them. And I said, are you going to have an autopsy done? She said no. And this is before her fire occurred. So she had a chance to get an autopsy. If she would have got one and give it to me, I would have
What does
been
an
glad.
autopsy cost?
You can send them to UC Davis, and if they teach their class a lesson, it's free.
Ma'am, you're suing for $2,100, but you've enumerated only $1,700 for the birds. What's that other $400
The other
for?
400 is because during that sort of same period of time, a little earlier than that, the defendant's daughter, who at that time was not of age, has admitted to me since that I knew several $100s were missing from my purse on payday, but I didn't know how many. And I mentioned it to her.
Why is his daughter liable for that,
Because
even if
this-
she did do it? Why is he liable for it?
Because the small claims court in Bakersfield advised me to put them together, and that if the judge deemed necessary, it could be separated, but they didn't know how to handle it.
Well, a parent is not liable for a child's obligation unless it's for necessities of life. But if a parent's child steals, the parent's not liable.
All right, that's how I was advised, so that's
Okay.
why I did it.
Your Honor. I also told Louise that if I'm kind of the one that advised her, thinking that Brandy had stole from her, and I told her, I says, I think Brandy stole money from you, and I says, let me get her to admit it to me. If she does, I will pay you that money, and she did admit it to me.
She admitted it to you?
Right. This is Brandy right here.
You did, Randy?
Brandy, yes, I did.
How much was it?
It was $400.
Okay. What do you know about this?
He's the one that called me and told me that he called me on the phone and said your daughter had a lot of money at the mall. And I said, really? How did she get that? That's when I called Louise, talked to Louise, and she said, your young daughter called me and asked me if she could go to work this weekend. And I said, Louise, don't let her. I have a feeling she's stealing from you. And so Brandy called me, and that's when I asked Brandy about it.
But do you know anything about the birds, Randy?
Yes,
She
I
knows
do.
how the hand feed. She worked for Louise. So
You
she
worked
knows-
for her?
Yes, I did.
Did you do anything to cause these birds to die?
I didn't work for her at the time when she bought the birds, but I had went out there with my mom when she took the bird, and I seen her sign the paper saying my dad's not liable for the bird if something happens to the bird. And I seen how she lets anybody hand feed her babies that ain't professional hand feeders. Like, for instance, me.
How old are you, Randy?
I'm 20 years old in July.
Are you willing to become a party to this lawsuit for the $400? Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
He's talking about birds in 97. The birds that he brought out to Louise's place was in 98. And he brought 2 of them, and I did hand feed one of them.
I got the receipt.
Those are
right
probably other birds. It was last year in 98. He brought out 2 birds. One girl bought one. I took one home. It died, and then hers died the next day, and it was in 98.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's this receipt of
Anything else?
98.
What is this bird that you have there?
This is just, they just asked me to bring an example of the species. This has nothing
I
to
sold
do with
them.
those birds. And Your Honor, I never ever got the second two birds, ever.
Right
Well,
here, you signed it.
over the years,
me see.
we have done about $100,000 probably or less business. He's got tons of receipts from me. But just not too long before my fire, we had a discussion, and he said he would replace the last two birds that I never got, but he wouldn't replace
You
the
want to look
other
at this?
two.
Tell me if it's your signature.
Yes, that's definitely my signature, but as I mentioned, I've bought probably dozens of umbrellas from him.
You only bought 4.
Over all the time we've been
4
doing
babies. You
business?
bought breeders, but 4 babies.
Take a short recess. I'll give you my decision.
I had one solid bite with 4, one on this side and 3 teeth on the other side. I had 10 stitches total.
The dog got past my stomach because the dogs got in a fight the night before, the previous evening. They got into a fight.
I said, let me go get the garden hose. I went and got the garden hose, turned it on, and I was squirting them.
Remain seated and come to order. This court is again in session.
This is a very difficult case for the plaintiff because it's a matter of proof. You have to prove your allegations by a preponderance of the evidence, and the proof is rather thin here. The defendant's admitting to one bird that he would cause the death for some foolish thing that he did. We won't go into details on that, but he's admitted that. So you are entitled to that $450. Brandy's admitted to $400 that she took from you, and she's a party defendant, so you're entitled to $400 against her. As to the cause of death of the other birds, or the other bird really, because we have a receipt that was signed by you, dated January 8th, on the sale of the other 2 that you did receive. If they died, I don't know for what reason, but the receipt is evidence. You said you signed it. You said you did buy other birds, but the proof is with the defendant. So my judgment is for plaintiff against the defendant here for $450 and against Brandy for $400.
There was a great deal of confusion that I was not able to refute here, in that I never ever received the last 2 birds at all. And the defendant and I had a conversation to that effect before my dwelling and all the records burnt down. That's why my evidence is weak, is because I have 100% loss. Absolutely no records.
Well, she did receive them because the first 2, she didn't receive them at first, but then she called my wife and received one of them. That's why I had her sign the receipt saying that she would not hold me liable if it died. I brought it home, both of them died. A blue and gold died. 6 Latino ringnecks died.
She had bought some kikes that had polyoma. That's how my dad knows about her birds having polyoma and her testing for polyoma.
I've been totally honest with Louise. She's overpaid me $1,000 for grays. I've called you up and said, hey, you overpaid me $200, and what do? Has Carmen brought it back to you, Louise?
I don't remember 1,000, but I remember 100 a time or 2. Yes,
Right.
you've been honest.
When Joe took money from you, didn't I get it back for you?
Sure, we've been honest
Right.
over the years. This
She is
the
a
first
nice
time we've
lady.
had
I
trouble.
have nothing against her.